All right, today we're jumping into a fascinating question. How does the software that runs our entire world actually get built? We're going on a quest for the perfect process. Let's get into it.
I mean, seriously, think about it. The apps on your phone are ridiculously complex. You've got teams of people all working on the same thing, constantly adding new features. So how on earth does it all hold together? It's not magic, I promise you. It's all about having a good methodology.
You see, building any piece of software can feel like trying to navigate a ship through a chaotic storm. But over the decades, some really smart people have developed playbooks, these structured models that bring a little bit of order to all that chaos. And today, we're going to break down 3 of the most important ones.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the spiral model. If these models were people, this one would be the cautious planner. You know, the one who looks before they leap and then looks again, just in case.
So what is it? Well, it was created way back in 1988 by a guy named Barry Boehm. And the key thing to understand is that it's not a straight line from start to finish. It's a process that literally spirals outwards, and every single loop in that spiral is focused on one big thing: managing risk. So why would you even need a process like this? Well, imagine you're not just building an app, you're building a billion-dollar satellite. One tiny mistake, one miscalculation, and the whole thing is space junk. You can't just push an update once it's in orbit, right? That's when you want the spiral model. You plan, you figure out everything that could possibly go wrong, you build a tiny piece, you test it to death, and then you start the whole cycle over again for the next piece. And every single one of those loops is broken down into 4 distinct phases. First, you figure out your objectives for this cycle. Then, and this is the most important part, you assess and reduce any risks. After that, you actually build and test the thing. And finally, you review how it all went and plan your next trip around the spiral. It's this, relentless cycle of caution and creation. And this quote right here, it just nails the philosophy. See, in the spiral model, any unexpected change isn't just a new idea. It's a potential risk. So the entire process is built around finding those risks early and dealing with them before they can cause a disaster.
Okay, let's do a complete 180. If the spiral model is our cautious planner, then our next model is all about the need for speed. Say hello to RAD, or Rapid Application Development.
You gotta love the origin story for this one. Its creator, James Martin, was just plain fed up with how slow and clunky the old ways of building software were. So he created RAD with a very simple, very powerful goal: build better software and build it way, way faster. So how in the world does it do that? Well, it basically throws those long, drawn-out planning and documentation phases out the window. Instead, RAD is all about one thing: building a quick and dirty version, a prototype, getting it in front of real users, listening to their feedback, and then making changes on the spot. Here's the perfect way to think about it. You're building a new website for a local restaurant. Instead of spending months writing up a plan, you whip up a quick design in a couple of days. You show it to the owner, and she says, "Oh, I hate that font, and can we move the menu to the top?" Boom. You make those changes that same afternoon. That super fast cycle of build, feedback, repeat, that's the soul of RAD. And the process itself is just so straightforward. You figure out the basic requirements, and then you immediately jump into prototyping. You get it in front of someone, you get feedback, and you refine it. Then you do it again and again. You just keep running that loop: prototype, feedback, refine, until the customer says, "That's it, that's perfect." Only then do you go and finalize the software. So when do you pull RAD out of the toolbox? Well, it's an absolute game changer when speed is the #1 priority. And because the customer is so deeply involved in the process, they almost always end up happier with what they get. It's pretty much the go-to model when you need something good, you need it now, and you've got a client who's ready to roll up their sleeves with you. And that brings us to our third and final approach. And well, this is the one you've probably heard of. It's called Agile. And it's so much more than just a process. It's a completely different way of thinking. It's a flexible mindset. If you strip everything else away, Agile is about one simple, powerful idea: the ability to create and respond to change. It fully accepts the fact that we don't always know what we're building from the start. Agile is designed not just to survive in that kind of uncertain environment, but to actually thrive in it. I absolutely love this analogy. Think of Agile like a cross-country road trip. You know your final destination is, say, San Francisco,
But you haven't planned out every single highway, every gas stop, and every bathroom break. If you hit a huge traffic jam, you pull up your map and find a different route. If you see a billboard for the world's largest ball of twine, hey, maybe you take that detour. The plan is to have a destination, not a rigid set of instructions. You adapt. Now this right here, this is the beating heart of the whole Agile mindset. It's from something called the Agile Manifesto. And the idea is really simple. It's not that the things on the right, like processes and plans, are bad. They have value. But Agile says that the things on the left have more value. Things like actual human conversations, having software that works, collaborating with your customer, and most importantly, responding to change instead of just blindly following a plan. And if you had to boil all of Agile down to its number one, top of the list, most important principle, this would be it. Satisfy the customer. And how do you do that? Through early and continuous delivery of software that they can actually use. Get something valuable into their hands quickly, and then do it again and again and again. So this mindset isn't just theory. It leads to very real, concrete actions. Agile teams work in these short, focused cycles, usually a couple of weeks long, called sprints. They have quick, daily stand-up meetings to make sure everyone's on the same page. It's all about building habits that keep the team flexible, aligned, and ready for whatever comes next. Okay, so we've met the cautious planner, the need for speed, and the flexible mindset. Which one is actually the best? Well, that's the wrong question, and that brings us to our final section. It's all about choosing the right tool for the right job. Let's just put it all together in a really simple way. If you're building something massive, expensive, and high stakes where failure is not an option, think NASA, you want the spiral model's intense focus on risk. If you need something built fast and you have a customer who can give you constant feedback, you want the speed of RAD. And if you're building something in a fast-moving, unpredictable market where you need to adapt on a dime, well, that is Agile's home turf. And that's really the big lesson here. The quest isn't to find the one single best model that rules them all. It doesn't exist. The real quest, the real skill, is in looking at what you're trying to build, understanding its unique challenges, and then picking the playbook that gives you the best shot at winning. I want to leave you with this little piece of wisdom. It comes from the Agile principles, but honestly, it applies everywhere. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. It's a beautiful way of saying that being effective isn't about doing more things. It's about being ruthless and focusing only on the things that actually matter. And that really gets you thinking, doesn't it? In a world that's changing faster than ever, with things like AI completely rewriting the rules, what comes next? What will the next great software development model look like? What will its core idea be? Now that is something to think about.